Hey there, this is Lyndsey Parker at Licorice Pizza Records for LPTV. It is the day after Thanksgiving. It's Record Store Day, Black Friday, and what better way to celebrate than by having you here to perform. This is Gatlin, and we are here to have you perform songs from your debut album, The Eldest Daughter.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Thank you for coming. I just want to make clear, your record came out before the Taylor Swift song, Eldest Daughter.
I announced it. I announced it before.
Ooh, conspiracy theory.
Well, I'm in the clear. I announced it before. But no, it came out on the same day. Our albums did.
Your album came out the same day as The Life of a Showgirl?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Were you bummed about that?
I think initially I was like a shock, I think, because what a crazy thing. Same day.
And like the fact that she had a song, called Eldest Daughter on it.
Daughter. So it was initially shocking, but then I was like, okay, it is what it is. That's
your own lane.
Cool. Yeah. It's not like I'm really competing with Taylor Swift, so it's okay.
Well, you're in your own lane. Or maybe you might have picked up a few streams maybe from people who were looking for Eldest Daughter and stumbled upon your record maybe.
Yeah. And I've just in the past had a song like resonate with a lot of Swifties. So, really? And I grew up loving Taylor Swift and I've been to so many of her shows. So I was like, it's
what
kind of
era?
Cool.
I would imagine Folklore, Evermore would maybe be your era.
Those are my favorites for sure. But growing up as a kid, I don't think I went to Fearless, but I went to Red and Speak Now and Reputation. I was going to the shows.
You were full on a Swiftie. Did you have the cardigan and all that? The branded merch.
I don't think I quite did that. I think, but my priority was seeing the show for sure.
Well, let's talk about you growing up because there is a significance. I'd love to know the significance of the title Eldest Daughter because I know you grew up in a conservative religious environment in Florida. I definitely want to ask you about Florida Man because I love that title as well. But what's the significance of your history and your upbringing and then wanting to call this album The Eldest Daughter?
Yeah. I mean, I think I was in this process of kind of, really doing a lot of healing with, my family dynamic and really a lot of things were coming to light. And so naturally I'm going to write about it. And everything I was writing about was just pointing towards being an eldest daughter and all of the pressures that come along with that. And
I'm an eldest daughter too, but only of two. So I'm like an elder daughter. How many siblings do you have?
I have two younger siblings.
Separation?
2.5 years younger and then 5 years. So the 5-year one, he felt like my little baby for sure.
So what was the family dynamic in terms of the pressures you felt as the eldest of three?
Yeah, I felt like in a lot of ways the truth teller, the protector, another parent.
Did you feel you had more expectations placed on you for your success, your achievements because you're the leader of the pack? When you're the eldest kid, you're the one that does everything first. You're the first to graduate high school, first to go to prom, first steps.
Well, you're the guinea pig.
Yes. And by the time the later kids come around, at least in my case, they're much harder on us. The parents have kind of been worn down by the eldest daughter. And then when, the later kids come around, they're like, yeah, no curfew for you or whatever grade you get is fine. You're like, wait a minute.
Well, it is crazy, the difference. I think also because a female and the baby is a male. So I think that the gender of it all also was, there was a big difference. I wasn't allowed to have sleepovers or what I was consuming in media was just very strict versus baby. It was, free reign.
But you grew up in a pretty conservative religious home, right?
Right.
And that is, I do want to get into specific songs on the record that address that. But in general, what were you revisiting or remembering or maybe even reinterpreting in your past when you were writing the lyrics for this album?
I think it really started with my queerness and figuring that out. And then, it was not only an issue with my family, my queerness, but then to talk about it publicly. I think that's a very Southern culture thing it was almost more of a big deal when I decided I wanted to start talking about it, and letting other people know, because I think, that's a Southern culture thing of have this presentation of being perfect and everything is all put together and not wanting the judgment from other people. So it felt like I kind of had to just full send it and like go all the way there of being honest and being open publicly in my art, in my songs. Yeah.
When did you come out to your I mean, not necessarily publicly, but to your family and friends?
When I was 19.
And how old are you now?
Now I'm 27.
Okay, so, well, it's been a while, but it was relatively, I mean, you know, some people come out when they're like 11 or something. It was a relatively later in life maybe for you.
Yeah, and it was bisexual. I came out as, I guess, I have a crush on this girl. But even at the time, I was like, but I'm not going to do anything about it because I was still in the church. And so it was very interesting the way that I even presented it to my family and my community. It was like, everyone start praying for me. I have feelings for a girl. Like, I don't know. So it took me a really long time to process it and like be okay with it myself. And then I was still dating men. And so I think for maybe my family would view it of I only came out maybe 2 years ago because that was when I was, really dating.
Did they think it was a phase?
Yes.
And obviously wasn't a phase, Mom.
Wasn't a phase, Mom.
But in general, however long it took them, like, did they accept it or are they, especially when you start to sing about it, like where you stand with that now?
It's a process. I think they've come a long way from, when it started. And a lot of, the song on my album, Love Me, is a song to my mom kind of right when I came out, and she was saying extremely hurtful things. But it has like come a long way since then. But I still am struggling with it because I do think that there is a difference between tolerating something and celebrating something about someone. I like want this part of me to be celebrated.
I hate the term tolerance.
I know.
Like, you tolerate like someone being annoying next to you on a plane. Like, this, it's like basically you're dealing with it, but you're not like cool with it necessarily. I don't like the word tolerance.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either. We have that in common.
We're both eldest daughters. We have a lot in common. How did your mother react to that song, Love Me? I assume she's heard it. I assume she knows it's about her.
Yeah. I did, show them all of the music before it came out. And I think it's a hard thing that we've been having to navigate because for me, it's just this is my story too, and I'm just trying to be honest, and it's my way to process. And I was like, I'm not trying to hurt you through this, but I think it, she did take it as like that's hard to hear,
So we're talking about, you mentioned this crush you had on a girl,
Mm-hmm.
which was sort of your awakening. And so there's a song on, I wonder if this is the song about it. It's called If She Was a Boy. Not to be confused with Beyonce's If I Were a Boy. Just making sure people don't get your songs confused with other songs by other superstars. But yes, tell me about that song. Is this about your revelation and I love the kind of title of it, like, basically, if this was a boy, we'd be dating or we'd be together by now, sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote that, I guess, a year and a half ago, but from the perspective of 19-year-old me, when I was in that place of, everybody, I have feelings for a girl, everyone start praying.
Or did you really want to pray the gay away? The way, oh, man.
Yeah, which is really, I like truly believed that if I acted on that, I would go to hell. And so it was a product of like the environment I grew up in and even was in. Like I was living in Nashville. I was at a Christian school and surrounded by like other Christian kids and like deep in the church. So
which denomination?
I grew up Baptist, and then we went to an evangelical Presbyterian church. So it was very much so like go spread the word of God, go like convert everyone. But yeah, it was fear-based. It was I didn't want anyone to go to hell.
I'm sorry I'm laughing about it.
I didn't want anyone.
This seems like it was traumatic, and yet you seem very like untraumatized. I guess you're like laughing about it.
I think maybe that's just my way of coping with it. And I've done a lot of work about all of this. I'm currently doing ketamine therapy.
Oh, okay.
It's really rocking my world.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So this girl, I don't know if you ever acted upon your crushes or if she knows about it. I do believe I've read that you wrote about her in your diaries, and it was like your diaries, rediscovering your 19-year-old, I guess, diaries that maybe
Spurred the song
spurred this
along.
song, or maybe
Yeah.
spurred lots of things on this album.
Yeah. No, I think it did, because that was kind of the first moment I began to really question, and maybe like because I wasn't living in Florida anymore, I was in Nashville, I felt like the space to start questioning, and I was like, well, I'm as, religious as it comes. I don't, but I finally had the space to start questioning and these feelings, and then that just stirred up kind of an entire deconstruction of faith, of like politics, of like what my family dynamic was, and gender, and just it kind of was the catalyst.
I assume you did not go home for Thanksgiving yesterday because you're here. I mean,
I did not.
Is it
no.
weird when you visit home? Is it one of those cliched things of like being around the table with people who totally don't share the same beliefs that you have now?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are having a hard time during the holidays because of the political climate right now. No, I'm not going home for the holidays this year. It's my first time not going home for the holidays. But like the beautiful thing I think about it is I have this like chosen family and like a beautiful community of friends, and like the queer community that I had a wonderful Friendsgiving, and it was there's just so much love and acceptance, and I had a great Thanksgiving.
I'm glad you did. I do think the whole notion of chosen family is very important. Not to sound cliche, but I don't assume you're not religious anymore, at least not the religion you were raised in, but are you still spiritual, or do you still have some kind of faith in your own way? How do you define your faith now? Or are you just completely like agnostic, atheist now?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. I like love talking about it. I'm definitely very spiritual. I'm kind of like finding God, and like I think it's been for a while I had to separate from it because there was a lot of like pain attached to God, and it wasn't God, it was kind of like people and humans that would corrupt it. And so I'm kind of in my journey of like finding out what that looks like. I've been just in a lot of discovery, looking into different religions, and looking kind of reading the Bible again and seeing what do I feel about this now that things have kind of calmed. And I think I'm just searching right now.
Is your ketamine helping with that?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
I mean, I feel like you can't do ketamine therapy and God not be brought up.
Honestly, I don't know much about, I know what ketamine is,
right.
But I don't know much about it being used for therapeutic as opposed to just purely recreational purposes. What does that entail?
I mean, I've been seeing this therapist for like 8 months, and I went to this place, got prescribed the medicine. We refer to it as medicine.
And it sounds like it is.
It's been very helpful for me. I don't think it's for everyone, but she had suggested it. And I think it's just been a way for me to like reprocess things, or, create new neural pathways, because I can logically know something so well, but my body would still react. Even like through this process of like doing interviews for this record, and, talking about the way that I grew up and family things. Like I was doing a podcast, and I like fully dissociated like mid podcast. And so it's just like, oh, there's still like work to do. And even though like maybe I like know.
I hope you don't do that during this. You're welcome to if that's what you want to do. But do you mind me asking what the question was that triggered that? If you don't want to say, it's okay.
No, it was I think just something about like my parents and like what they thought about me. And I just was like, and I'm now no longer in my body. And so, I'm just kind of like, okay, there's some things that, it's the body keeps a score thing.
The body remembers.
Yeah.
Well, again, if I ask about anything that's bothering you or that would make you dissociate, let me know.
That was a few months ago, so
okay,
we
cool.
have done a lot of work, and I'm
good.
like much better.
But a lot of the things, obviously, asking about specific songs are going to get into this. And since we were talking about the religion thing, I did want to ask about Jesus. I have the list here. Jesus Christ and country clubs, because I love the line, "I'm going to hell because girls are fun." That's a good line. Tell me, I mean, I think we've already sort of got into what inspired that song, but like in general, is there anything else you want to talk about with that particular track?
Yeah, I think that song is more kind of like where I'm a little bit angry. And I think growing up, I wasn't really allowed to feel angry, or I didn't feel like I was allowed to be angry. And so it felt good to get some of that out and be like, it's about, hypocritical Christianity, like MAGA Christianity, and the ways that, like, well, the Jesus I knew, like, wouldn't be acting like this. So I think it was really therapeutic for me to write that and get that out and to like feel angry about it.
Which song on the record is the most therapeutic for you to perform live?
That one's really fun. I feel like at shows, like that's the one that people really respond to and get excited about. Love Me is one that I think I have not been able to sing live without crying. And I think it creates like, I'm very deeply uncomfortable, but I think that is a good thing. And it also like has allowed for people who are there at the show to like, I don't know, like make me feel safe and like make me feel seen. And I think it makes the space feel very safe.
I imagine you have a lot of fans that tell you that certain songs or the whole album has really resonated or helped with them. Do you have any stories like that? Like, oh my God, like this song healed me, or I saw myself in this, that sort of thing?
Yeah. I mean, I've been putting music out now for 6 years, but I've like noticed a huge shift since putting this out, and like the messages I receive or like emails or, like letters. It just like means so much to me, because it's that like this is like like helping in my healing journey I'm going through, like whoever is sending that in. And I think it's more like harder, traumatic, like deeply rooted things. And so I think like music has that capability, and it's just, I don't know, it's a lot deeper than maybe in the past. I've written a lot of breakup songs, which people can heal through too, but this is just so much.
Taylor Swift wrote a lot of breakup songs. It's done all right for her.
Yeah.
That's a universal thing.
It is a universal thing. I just think this is so like rooted in like identity, that the messages have just been like really overwhelming in a good way.
Now I have a few songs that I want to ask about, and I guess related to that is The Hill, which is obviously about religion as well. But you had a quote I actually wrote it down. You had a quote that about walking away from Christianity was the greatest loss of my life and the hardest thing. I hope you don't dissociate. Right? I really am like, I want to be gentle. But that song is about walking away from Christianity or the church or whatever that was for you before. So do you want to talk about that song? I imagine that's another really cathartic or difficult one for you to perform.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Christianity and like my relationship with God was so like tied into my identity. And the way that I grew up, I was very much so taught to, I was born bad, I was born evil, and like God is the only thing that is good. And so I think, that's a really damaging way to grow up. And so like leaving that, I had to learn how to like trust myself and like believe that I was good, and all of these things that were very difficult to do. It felt like I was completely losing myself. So, and I think a lot of people who grew up in Christianity, like that's why it's so hard to question it or to like walk away from it, because of the way that you are grown up thinking life is. And then my whole family's in it. And like, I church is also like such a wonderful place for community. Like I had so many friends and I felt so loved. And so it was a really hard thing to walk away from. And yeah, it was a painful song to write, but I think a good one. It, just kind of phrases it almost in like a Stockholm syndrome-y kind of way.
What town or city in Florida did you grow up in?
I grew up in Orlando. I was born in Kissimmee, and then I grew up in Orlando. I went to like a private Christian school, and
I'm surprised you didn't go into like more pop. That's like the Disney pop Y2K 90s capital of the world. It's where like all the boy bands come from.
Yeah. I think that was before my time. In my time, it was a lot of singer-songwriters and like I guess like rock bands. Probably like garage rock bands.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So when you talk about the community, and did you lose a lot of friends or family members when you, I was about to say changed your lifestyle, but I didn't mean it like when people call being queer a lifestyle. I mean, I hate that term, but what I meant was, when you basically changed the way you were living, and walked away from the church. Did you lose a lot of support? Did you have to make new friends or?
Yeah, I mean, it was a process. It was like a year's process. And I was living in Nashville at the time, and some of it, I guess, was here. But so in Nashville, a lot of my friends were we were all kind of coming out of it at the same time, which was really nice and felt less isolating. It felt more like, my church in Florida kind of being like, you know what? I think this was actually like not good for me. And yeah, family relationships changed, definitely. And it's sad and heartbreaking, but also okay.
You do treat things with a bit of humor, like I said, you have a song called Florida Man, which I love because if you ever read The Onion or whatever, or not even The Onion, like real news, it'll be like Florida Man does some crazy shit.
Have you done the thing where you put your birthday and then Florida Man?
Wait, no, I've heard about this. What is it?
You Google your birthday and Florida Man, and there's always going to be something.
There's always going to be some crazy news story that's actually not The Onion. So yeah, Florida, I guess, does have a little bit of a reputation. It's probably somewhat deserved. But I think there's a comma, at least an implied comma in your title, Florida Man, because you basically say, I'm never going back to Florida, man, which I love. I love the play on words. But tell me about that, because there's a lot of humor in this, but there's also a lot of anger in this too. It's kind of like an FU Florida. At least that's how I'm taking it. Like, I live in a bluer state now, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think now, retrospectively, I view Florida Man as kind of this metaphor of almost who I was when I was living there, or kind of in this playing my role in my family dynamic and, not being who I was and not questioning and being in the closet and all of these things. I kind of view it of, okay, I'm never going back to that. I've, since like through honestly the writing of the album, like kind of got to reclaim Florida as mine. And I've been back a few times. And I'm like, wait, this isn't, I actually really like.
There's a Taylor Swift song called Florida too.
Yep.
Florida.
With Florence.
My
goddess.
Yeah, that's really funny. So yeah, is there anything more you want to talk about the lyrics of that song? Because there is a lot of like kind of screw you Florida, but there's also a lot of humor to that. And I do like the fact that this, for anyone watching this interview unfamiliar with Gatlin's music, who would think that this is like a sad, mopey, or angry record, it's got a lot of humor to it as well.
I guess there I can't help it. It's just the way that I process things. I think I had the title first. I was like, okay, I'm going to write this record about growing up in Florida, so Florida Man. And then I was like, well, I don't want to write about a man. So I, just kind of was like, I'm never going back to Florida Man. I'm never going, back to that, I guess, like state of mind and kind of trying to fit in and be who my parents wanted me to be. I'm not going to do that anymore. Yeah.
So speaking of humor and man, you do have a song called Man Out of the House. My favorite line in the album is from Man Out of the House. I definitely want to ask about what inspired this song. My cats can be gay if they want to. That's a great line. I'm all for gay cats. I'm all for cats living their best lives.
Let the cats be gay.
Let the cats Did I get the line right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm all for cats and animals of all kind living their truth. But there's a lot of humor in this song. But what is this song, Man of the House, about? Because, that's a loaded term, patriarchy, gender roles, all that.
Yeah, it was kind of like claiming that for myself. In the visualizer I did, I was in like male drag, and I was like, wow.
You were a drag king?
Well, I had like a beard and like the camo, and yeah, I felt awesome, and I feel like it unlocked something in me. But yeah, I think I wrote it. I was living in an apartment by myself, and paying the bills like from music, which was like crazy, and like that's wild. And
congratulations. That's
thank you.
More than a lot of musicians could ever claim,
Yeah, it was. And I, at the time wasn't talking to my parents, because you go through breaks, at least I do with them. And I was just having
to them now.
No, not right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
it's okay.
I don't mean to interrupt you. I might want to ask more about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell me about, let's continue with the Man of the House.
Yeah. So I think it was the first time that I was like, okay, I'm a little bit on my own, and let me figure this out. And I did. And I really learned how to, like, I just felt powerful. It was a time in my life that I was like, I'm like a strong person. And yeah, so I wrote Man of the House, and I was like, I get to live by my rules. My cats, if they want to be gay,
are your cats gay?
They can be gay.
Are your cats
One of
gay?
them definitely is gay. Like, for sure gay.
My friend Lisa is convinced that her 2 male cats are gay and that they are a couple. So I'm all for gay cats.
My partner kind of says that I project a little bit. Like, I'm almost like forcing them to be gay when they might just not. But
you just gotta let your kids be who they want to be, whether they're gay or not. That's what we've learned.
Be gay.
We learned one thing from this interview. And then the last song I specifically want to ask a question about is Soho House Valet, because your press release called it the North Star of the album.
Yeah.
So it's an important song on the album. And it's kind of, I don't exactly know what's happening, but it seems like there's some kind of actual very specific story about a conversation you had with a family member or someone at Soho House. I assume the Soho House here in LA might have been Soho House Valet. But yeah, what's that song about? Why is it the North Star of this album?
Yeah, it was a song I wrote like a week after I had this kind of like fight with my dad, walking into Soho House warehouse in downtown LA. And I wrote it to process it. I kind of was very honest in a way that I hadn't in my writing before, and kind of viewed the song as, well, this is for me. No one else is going to hear it. So who cares? I'll just say everything. And then I sat with it for a while, and I was like, you know what? I think I do want to put this out, and I want to make an entire album that is this honest, and this for myself, for helping me process things and helping me heal through things. And so, yeah, that's, I guess, why it's the North Star. It was like the catalyst of, okay, I want to start making music in this way.
I don't know if you want to divulge what the fight was about. It's totally fine if you don't, but, don't want to pry too much. But the song does intentionally leave it vague what the argument was about. But has your dad heard this? Much as like me asking, did your mom hear Love Me? Has your dad heard this song? Does he know it is about him or about this specific incident?
Yeah, I mean, he's heard it. And I think that, the conversation we had was just, this happened, and like, this is my way of processing it. And I think they've always been really supportive of me doing music and me writing and, pursuing this career. So I think they were like, okay, like, this is what you're doing. So
do you mind me asking why you're not speaking with them right now? Again, totally fine if you don't want to tell me this.
I mean, I'm just kind of, I think it's a roller coaster, like, relationships change. And I think just right now for me, as this album's coming out and I'm like talking about it, and there's like been fights and the political climate, and just it's just a lot. And I'm kind of like, one thing at a time. And I think sometimes space is good for healing as well. I think it's part of the process. When things are like really emotionally charged, sometimes it's like, okay, everyone needs to
take a break,
like, and breathe for a second.
But see, it's interesting. I was going to ask about that even though you may have differences of opinion, different beliefs, different political beliefs, religious beliefs, they've always been very supportive of you, of being an artist in music, like from very young age, right?
Yes.
So that's interesting. Maybe some people would assume that they were like, no, be a wife, don't do anything, don't pursue a career. But they always really encourage you to be a musician.
Yes. Yeah. That is, I feel like, such a gift. Like, because I've had so many friends who parents were like, okay, be practical. Like, doing music is not practical. Like, it's a hard thing to go out and pursue. And especially my parents are like not creatives and not in this world. And so they didn't really understand it. But, they were willing to learn with me and figure it out, which I'm like, okay, see, you can do that with music. You can do that with me being gay too.
There you go. How young were you when you started music? Is it a situation where they were like buying you a guitar when you were age 6?
Yeah. I think being now in my mid to late 20s, I'm learning, a lot of my friends and I were like just returning back to like how we were when we were young kids. I think, it feels like you're on a good path if you do. And when I was young, it was always, what do you want to be when you grow up? Singer. I want to be a singer. I want to write my songs. And I, maybe in middle school thought I would do something practical. And then in high school, I got diagnosed with like an anxiety and depressive disorder. And I was like, okay, this is the only thing that makes me happy. And I was really supported in that.
Did they support you in your mental health journey?
Yes.
Like, get you help and all that?
Yes, they did.
So yeah, see, they're not. Yeah,
there's so many redeeming qualities. I had a lot of great things in my childhood.
Well, I'm glad about that. So let's end things on a positive note. You were obviously unpacking a lot of things from your adolescence when making The Eldest Daughter that maybe wasn't, that was painful or dark or whatever, but there's nostalgia on this record too. What were the things that you revisited that you were like, oh, that was nice to remember that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the last track is Kissimmee, which is where I was born, and I had gone back to Florida and was able to go out with some queer people and like discover so many beautiful people in Florida and be with family in like a really positive way. And I was like, oh, I just like have this nostalgia for childhood again, and then coming back and being able to like be who I am and really love who I am like in Florida, I think was really good for me, because I kind of had this like view of, and of loving a place so much and it not really being loved by it. And I think maybe that's a generalization, but you can like find pockets and find people anywhere.
Well, I'm so happy for you that you've been on this great journey with or without ketamine.
With or without it.
This interview's been a journey. I'll ask you one last question for people watching this who maybe are going through something similar, whether it's coming out or just in some way breaking away from their upbringing, in terms of breaking away from what they've been raised to believe or whatever. Like, what advice do you have for them to get to be as grounded as you seem to be now?
Oh, wow. Thank you.
You seem very grounded.
Well, I am a Virgo.
So am I.
You are?
What's your birthday?
Eldest daughter Virgo.
We're eldest daughter Virgos.
Wow.
Who like gay cats.
Yeah.
What's your birthday?
I'm September 8th.
September 21st.
Wow. Yeah. Go us. September Virgos.
Go us.
What was the question again?
Just in terms, you seem grounded. And if there's other people watching this, other kids or whatever who are struggling with maybe a similar situation, family dynamic, whether it's because they're coming out as queer or just somehow their family's going this way, they're going that way. What's your advice for them?
I think being honest with yourself and like learning how to love yourself is such an important thing. And I think a way that I was able to do that was spending a lot of time by myself and doing a lot of work, but also like finding community and like finding people who celebrate you for exactly who you are. And it doesn't need to be a lot, and I just think like that has made all the difference with me, is like having my few friends who are just like, I see you, I love you, I'm here for you no matter what. Yeah.
Go us.
Go
No,
us.
more importantly, go Gatlin. Forget about me. Go Gatlin.
Go you.
Go everybody. Go Licorice Pizza.
Wait, what do you call your hair color?
Magenta or fuchsia.
Magenta.
That's what I usually say.
Icon with the magenta hair.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate this love fest we got going on.
Oh, I love it.
We should wrap up because you're about to play songs from the eldest daughter here at Licorice Pizza. I'm very excited about that. It's a great way to spend Black Friday Record Store Day. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Yay!